Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing with another edition of What's Going On in Corpus Christi. This is Taxpayers Show, essentially. I am president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, and what I say I've approved, or had approved by our board of directors and members of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association. I would like to let you know that this is March 25th, 2018. Air times are on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. and Wednesday at 9 o'clock. That's on Channel 10 Public Access, which is on Spectrum and Grande and I think AT&T. If you need to get any message to me, comments, pro, con, whatever, then please email me at gsansing@gmail.com. And I'm going to go take a short road trip here, and I'll be right back. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a perfect example of the upkeep of streets and so forth in Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm standing at the corner of Santa Fe and Oleander, and if you try to make this curve, you're just going to ruin your tires and ruin the car and everything else. But does anybody in this town with the city council or with the street maintenance or anything really give a damn? No, they don't. This has been like this for a long time, so I just thought I'd film this and show you how pretty this is. Like I say, this is Oleander and Santa Fe. I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at Tarleton and Air Street. Here's that pole, the light pole here sticking in the middle of the sidewalk. It wouldn't take much to widen this out to conform to ADA standards, but I understand that it's impossible. The city now says that they don't have to do it, and then all these things that they haven't done over the past couple of years are grandfathered in, which is phony baloney, as Joe O'Brien used to say. Anyway, I'm going to go check out some other spots. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Lights are on, camera's going, and I'll come around here and take my seat. We'll see what we can discuss today of great importance, I hope, to all of you fine folks out there. Hope you enjoy this beautiful amaryllis. I know Miss Lynn is dedicated to her, and she used to get all over me because I have a patio full of them, folks, and a deck, and I just love those things. They're absolutely gorgeous, and this is the time of year that they're going to come out and bloom for you. This is, again, what's going on in Corpus Christi. I did make a little trip over to Tarleton and Ayers. I couldn't stop over there on Everhart and about Holly because of the traffic, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with this. Now, I have been deeply concerned, and I do have my t-shirt on here, folks. I'll just go ahead and do this one, the front of it, below this logo here with the international no. It says taxpayers cannot afford these members. There are 3 members of the Del Mar College Board of Regents that are going to be coming up for re-election, and we can't afford them, folks. So I'm going to say vote no to all of the current Del Mar College Board of Regents members. There are 3 of them that will be up for re-election in November. And on the back I've got the same logo, and it says reduce taxes, which is what we need to do at Del Mar College instead of increasing those. Reduce administrative bloat. I think I went over last show or two the bloat and the administrative cost of this place, and we're getting nowhere. And then reduce tuition. We keep going up on tuition, and now we're broke. Okay, and increase academic standards. I'm very, very appalled at the slip of academic standards at Del Mar College into the gutter. We have folks that don't abide by any of the prerequisite classes. We've got an administration now that does not abide by what the curriculum should be as dictated by and legally and in policy by the faculty members. They ignore us at all times now with this big bloat we've got going over there, all these hundreds of people. I think we've got more administrators over there now than we've got students, to tell you the truth. It's appalling, folks, and then they get all over Dr. Guy Watts for expressing his concerns about academic mediocrity. I think I started that discussion several years ago, and that's what it's become. It's just, you know, that's a haven for, let's just pass everybody through, let's make things look great, and so forth and so on. Now, I went over to Tarleton and Ayers again to make a point. Back in September 2017, I wrote to the U.S. Department of Justice a Public Information Act request, okay, and I wanted to know about what the Department of Justice ADA compliance section was going to do to solve our problems around here for the with the non-compliant Americans with Disabilities Act. That means let's get the passageways, or the sidewalks and so forth out here passable by people with disabilities. And then the Department of Justice wrote me back on October the 3rd, and they indicated that this is in response to the complaint that you filed with this office alleging a possible violation of Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. After carefully reviewing the information that you provided, we have decided not to take any further action on your complaint. Unfortunately, because the section receives thousands of ADA complaints each year, we do not have the resources to resolve all of them. Well, folks, this is citywide, so you mean to tell me Department of Justice people, which I think in the news these days have shown the total bias. It's a political organization now. They don't give a damn about the individual rights of individuals. It's all about politics, okay? So I could go on for days. I almost vomit every time I turn the news on, and we've got these damn, kindergarten squabbles going on between the elected officials up there, trying to figure out who to point the blame at. Well, point the finger at yourself, folks. Okay, you're the cause. Damn bunch of bureaucrats making too much money, especially when it comes to ADA. You know, we'd rather spend money up there going after each other, you know, for political reasons, and rather than take care of the citizens of this country, particularly our disabled. And it makes me want to vomit. And then I wrote the VA because we have a lot of disabled veterans around here, and they said the same thing. Let's see, essentially. After careful review, it has been determined that the issues do not fall within the scope of the OIG on an actionable basis. Okay, Office of Inspector General of the Department of Veterans Affairs. And now we've stuck in politics again with a bunch of damn people up there that can't provide our veterans with what they had promised they would do when they said they joined the service. Okay, I know my dad went through that for a while. You know, I mean he was a veteran of the Second World War. I won't go over his shit, being shot down again and escaping before the Germans got him, and shooting Germans with the French underground on his way out. But you know, and then he flew Korea and Vietnam, 350 missions in Vietnam alone. Okay, got shot up, and so forth and so on. So you don't have time for that, Veterans Affairs, okay, Department of Veterans Affairs. I hope the new guy now will take good care of that and then turn it around, because the damn bureaucrats can't do it, okay? And you know, this federal government goes hand in hand with Del Mar College, and you know, the city of Corpus Christi, and the state, and the feds. It's called administrative bloat, okay? So I'm getting sick of it, so I don't mind speaking my mind, as you can see on this show right now. I'll go ahead and complain, and I'm going to be bitching and hollering for a long time, folks. I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. That's my money, and you're doing the veterans wrong, and you're doing the disabled wrong, and then the people that depend on the sidewalks around here, which are a lot of people that don't have the funds to have vehicles around. They can't walk up and down the sidewalks to get to work. They can't push their strollers without having to either go in the parking lot somewhere and walk in the street and get hit. And I won't discuss the despicable person who ran over two kids and over here at King High School. It's an abomination. Now, our fearless city attorney, Mr. Miles Risley, keeps telling us that we have been exempt from the ADA compliance and so forth, the standards, because the United States Department ADA compliance standards don't apply. Okay? Now, what they have said is consistently that if it's impractical, okay, that's what Mr. Risley preaches at the city's council meetings and other meetings about ADA compliance, okay? He says if it's impractical, then they don't have to do anything about it. And that he has waivers from the ADA, which he cannot produce and has not produced after several attempts to get those letters from ADA. I want to see somebody's signature on it, okay? So, you know, I don't think that our city attorney is very truthful with us at times, most times. Okay, now, and then they said it's, you know, impossible. Now, and that therefore they have been granted waivers for this. Now, I want to see the waivers, Mr. Risley. I want to see the exact statutes and stuff that you are referring to, because I just happened to look up guidance on the 2010 ADA standards for accessibility design, and this is the guidance on the revision to 28 CFR 35.151. Okay, state and local government facilities guidance and so forth. Okay, now it may take me a couple of minutes to read this. Okay, but here it is. Section 35.51A, which provided that those facilities that are constructed or altered by, on behalf of, or for use of a public entity shall be designed, constructed, and altered to be readily accessible to use to and usable by individuals with disabilities, unchanged in the final rule, but has been redesignated in 35.151A1. The department has added a new section designated as A2 to provide that full compliance with the requirements of this section is not required where an entity can demonstrate that it is structurally impractical to meet the requirements. Okay? Now, impractical means not wise to put into or keep in a practice or effect, incapable of dealing sensibly or prudently with practical matters. Okay, that's what impractical means. Now, you can't tell me that if you've got landowners that are willing to give you property, city, to go around a fire hydrant in the middle of a sidewalk over there on Airline in front of Gulfway Center, that's impractical, that you can't go in there and take advantage of that and just pour a little bit of concrete in there. That's very practical. And then here you've got women with strollers pushing kids down there, and you've got people in walkers, and you've got people in wheelchairs that can't get down that sidewalk, especially to go down and cross the street and get to a bus stop. I mean, you're impossible, Mr. Risley. You're absolutely and completely impossible. And I think what we need to do is I'm going to design one of these so when we have the next city council elections, I want to make damn sure that none of those people are back on there, because none of them have the intestinal fortitude and the spine to stand up to you and your interpretation, which is incorrect of the laws, and you don't give a damn about the ADA compliance around here or people with disabilities. And that's for you, Mr. Risley. You're an attorney, sue me. Okay? I thought it was freedom of speech, especially when I'm not lying about it. I can't say the same for you. All right, impractical to meet the requirements. Full compliance will be considered structurally impractical only in those rare circumstances when the unique characteristics of terrain present the incorporation of accessibility features. This exception was contained in the Title III regulation and in the 1991 standards. Okay? Now, if you want to say it's impossible, then impossible means incapable of being or of occurring. Number 2, felt to be incapable of being done, attained, or fulfilled. Okay? Insuperably difficult. No, it's not. I mean, you can do the same thing at Tarleton Ayers, and you can do the same damn thing over there on Everhart and Holly. I mean, why do you keep these lies going, city? Okay? And Mr. McComb, I thought you're always preaching, you're all for veterans and everything else. Well, how about the ADA people? And then everybody went just wild and gaga over Abel Herrera. I mean, not Abel, what was his name? The young guy in the wheelchair that was crippled up. Abel Alonzo, excuse me. I didn't mean that, Mr. Herrera. Okay, now, extremely undesirable, that's what impossible is, extremely awkward or difficult to deal with. Well, I find you impossible to listen to, Mr. Risley, and a lot of those elected officials down there that sit around and do absolutely nothing but spend our money and drive us about, what, $10 to $20 million in the hole right now as a city? You people make me want to vomit. Okay. Then another thing that I have dug up was I had I'm president of Taxpayers Association. My first vice president's Mr. Jack Gordy, and I think he's well known down there at City Hall. And he's about as blunt as a 90-mile-an-hour freight train, right there next to me. Now he had some information that the city of Corpus Christi is paying outside attorneys' fees for $500,000. So I went and looked this particular one up. Okay, it's Coates Rose. They're out of Houston. There was some case, I guess, levied against the city, and he first found this one out that between 12/16/16 and 04/17/17, the city had paid that company $550,000 plus. $550,527.37. Okay, so I went and back in I think it was back in December, and I filed for a Public Information Act request to get the billings, and that went from I started back in June of 16 and to present. Now it took 4 months before I got that back. Okay. Now, they were all upset, and they called me and apologized from the city, and they just couldn't figure out what had happened and who dropped the ball and so forth, which is a whole load of bovine excrement, folks, along with an awful lot of equine mixed in there. Okay, now I went back and got those invoices, and I looked it up, and my calculation as of I guess that was July 30th, 17. Then what we had paid those attorneys outside. Now we've got 26 full-time attorneys at Corpus Christi, the city of, and one of them, Mr. Risley, is the chief down there, the head attorney, city attorney. But according to my calculations, I came up with this one firm for $1,157,000 plus dollars. Okay. Now, why are we paying that? Don't we have competent attorneys down here? I mean, I shouldn't say it, but when it takes 4 months to get a simple set of documents out of the system down there, folks. The first month they said that the city secretary had lost that, and so forth and so on. So I don't know what to tell you. It's an abomination. Now, like I say, it took me 4 months. Okay. Now they're $10 to $20 million in the hole, and now we're going to sell off some parks around here. Sell the parks off. That was something that came up here in the newspaper the other day. City to sell 3 parks in budget crunch. Okay, and this came out, I didn't date it. Okay, I usually put the date on it. It was just recently. Okay. With the city of Corpus Christi facing the largest budget shortfall since the financial crisis. Okay, then, oops, I got a little bug here. Okay. Now, many departments have been told to start running as a business rather than a public service. Well, it's about damn time, okay? But can you believe this? The park at 7306 Prairie Drive is one of 3 parks the city is planning to sell, okay? Then there's another one, Violet Park, 4301 Violet Road in Annaville will be sold for $115,000 to such people. Okay. So I don't know. I guess we're going to do that. Then I'm going to go ahead and have a few words to say about Delmar. Okay. And this was Nick Jimenez back in February. Delmar gets closer to becoming a Southside legacy. And then he goes on preaching the accolades of Delmar College for doing this, that, and the other. Delmar Regents Chairman Trey McCampbell laid out the task for the Regents. It's not about qualifications, he said, because the panel has already determined that the 4 were up to the job. Now, this is when they're picking their contractor buddies, okay? Who's going to, can we not vote for people that are strictly politicians with a bunch of firms and stuff in their pocket, okay? That we're going to do this, that, and the other. Now, I would hope that back in 2012, 2013, in that period of time when Delmar College decided without your vote to purchase 95 acres plus at Yorktown and Rodfield Road, that swampland out there, to build a new campus to house 20,000 students. Now, I have been able to prove, along with the CPA here, that the enrollment at Delmar College, all the campuses since 1992, is absolutely, completely flatlined. In fact, what we do now is count students now that we did not do up until about 4 or 5 years ago, the dual credit students. They're not on campus. They don't use the facilities, and also they only pay 1/3 of what the normal students have to pay. And then we wonder why we're broke at Delmar College. And we've been told over there that we've cut off all the travel, we've cut off all kinds of purchases and everything else, hiring of people as adjuncts in term positions, which are full-time for 1 year, because we can't afford it. We're broke. Figure it out. I'll let you try to digest that, okay? In fact, I think the last I heard, a couple of us had predicted we'd be about $2 million in the hole this time of the year this year, and that was predicted a while back, but I think we missed it by $100,000. We're about it publishes $1.9 million short, and no faculty rights. Okay, and we have a vice president of instruction over there that does not abide by the rules and regulations that are put forth by the American Association of University Professors and their own policies over there, that as far as the curriculum goes and the what you need to take that, prerequisites and so forth, to maintain academic integrity over here and standing, that person's taken upon herself to say that no, we're not going to do that anymore. Okay? Yep, it's not true. Faculty members can go crawl off in a hole, and as they retire, we're not going to hire people to replace them anyway. And they say we can't afford it, but we can build a $500 million campus to house 20,000 students that we're never going to get. Come on, folks. Really, do I have stupid and a neon light going up here flashing like that because I am a Delmar College faculty member? Okay, I'm a taxpayer too, and you people have been burning my butt up for a long time over there at Delmar, and it's going to cease. Okay, now, I wish that when they come up with these wild hair things over there at Delmar College with that bloated administration and with the Board of Regents members, a lot of those involved heavily in the local construction business and architects, engineers, and that type of thing, rather than try to take care of your buddies for millions of dollars at a shot, why don't you try to take care of the taxpayers that voted your butts in? That, you know, that would be a real revolution, wouldn't it? Or revelation. It's going to be a revolution, believe me. Okay, now, so back in 2012 when all this crap was going on, and you know, it was late 2012, almost into 2013 by a couple of weeks, some call it the edifice complex. Others have named it the Law of More or the Taj Mahal syndrome. Now this came out in the New York Times at that time, okay? It says degrees of debt. Some call, okay, a dedicated long spending binge to build academic buildings, dormitories, recreational facilities, some of them inordinately lavish to abstract students, has left colleges and universities saddled in large amounts of debt. We've got a large amount of debt going into this, folks, with that big building they're putting up on East Campus, $45 million. And I think that bond was $157 million to build that. And there's some buildings out on West Campus that we don't need. Okay? So this thing goes on, and it says, debt has ballooned at colleges across the board, public and private, elite and obscure. While Harvard is the wealthiest university in the country, it also has $6 billion in debt, the most of any private college. Okay, now we're looking probably, if all the bonds go through and that Southside campus is built to completion, and what we've already accumulated, I'd say a minimum of $700 million is what the taxpayers at Del Mar College are going to owe. And let me just put this in there. I'm sick and tired of tax abatements. Everybody's saying, you know, the city, you know, everybody else is saying that, you know, the taxpayers are overburdened, and we are, but you don't give a damn, okay? But why don't we keep giving these tax abatements for all these big companies that want to come in here and bleed us dry and ruin our, you know, the ecology around here? And then we've got Mobil, what was it, something Mobil, Exxon Mobil coming in, and we're going to probably kill several people over there before it's over with in Portland, Ingleside over there, and possibly over here, because if that place blows up, we're in deep stuff here, folks, even if you live out on the island. Okay? So I don't know what to tell you. So that we've got that building, and then another one that came through. Let's see, what did I do with that one? It was about the defrayed maintenance that we've got. Okay, they don't build buildings to maintain and are maintainable. They build them just for making money for their buddies over here and to look good. Okay, now we've got some terrible buildings at Del Mar College, and I think the architects and engineers that designed those ought to be taken out back and flogged, to be totally honest with you. Okay, that's my assessment of the thing. So that article came out not too long ago. Okay, so I don't know. And then what we've got is Del Mar College here. We're going to do anything we can for enrollment. Dual enrollment to be offered for Del Mar and A&M CC students. Okay. Now I don't know. I haven't seen all the particulars with that, but I smell a rat somewhere. Okay. However, the public will not be able to apply to this program. Only bubble students will be invited. Bubble students are defined as students who received around a 17 to 18 on their ACT. Silva says that currently around 400 students qualify for this. Okay, now Silva is Dr. Rito Silva. He's the one that loves to go on witch hunts. He went after me for one thing, figured out I was not guilty, but they said there were other things that I had done that needed to be looked at. So I had to hire my attorney to go into the meetings. And nothing's happened since then. Okay, because I was not guilty. So I keep reminding Del Mar College that, you know, when they go on a witch hunt against me or other people, like Mr. Bruce or Dr. Bruce Olson, I'll discuss that in the show on South Texas News and Reviews. That's another thing that costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then I know a witch hunt when I see one. My mother and all of her ancestors since the 1700s were from Salem, Massachusetts. Ain't that something? So yes, I do. I know a witch hunt when I see one. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Please email me at sansing@gmail.com, and I'll be right back with the beautiful flower there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's a amaryllis at its best there. Okay, beautiful light pink one. There's a white one bloom on the other side. It's mostly white. There's a little bit of pink in that one. They're gorgeous. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a red one, I think, for the South Texas News and Reviews, which should be airing just after this show or just before it, depending on whether you're watching on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Anyway, please email me, gsansing@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to get back with you and respond to your emails.